Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. So we are from group 3 and in here we will to explain about the material of TFL lessons that has title is Lesson Plan and Classroom Management Theoretical Knowledge. So before we will to explain about the material in this day, let me to introduce our group first. The name of group are first Arum Satria Pertiwi and the last one is Ella Oktaviana. Okay, in this opportunity we will explain about 1. How to plan lessons, 2. Guidelines of lesson plan, 3. Definitions of classroom management, 4. The purpose of classroom management, 5. Activities are carried out in classroom management, 6. The functions of classroom management, 7. The principle of classroom management, 8. The components of classroom management, 9. Classroom management approaches, and the last one is factor influencing or classroom management. Okay, for the first, let me to explain about how to plan lesson. We shall know about the format of lesson plan first. The following the format of a lesson plan, including goals, objectives, materials and equipment, procedures, evaluations, and the last one is extra class work. Okay, next let's discuss about guidelines for lesson planning. Maybe you can see in here the guidelines for lesson planning include: first, how to begin planning. As we know, how to begin planning has 6 steps. The first step is assuming that you are already familiar with the curriculum. Second, determine what the topic and purpose of the lesson will be. Write that down as the overall goals. Third, considerations again about the curriculum and the students' needs. Draft out perhaps 1 to 3 explicitly states terminal objective for the lesson. Fourth, of the exercise that are in the textbook, decide which one you will do, change, delete, and add to all be set on the objective you have draft. Okay, next, draft out a skeletal outline of what your lesson will look like. And the last one is carefully plan step-by-step procedures for carrying out all techniques. Okay, the next guidelines for lesson planning is variety, sequencing, pacing, and timing. And the third guidelines is gauging difficulty. Fourth is individual reference. Fifth is student talk and teacher talk. And the last one is adapting to an established curriculum. Okay, next is definitions of classroom management. Classroom management is an activity that aims to create a safe and conducive classroom atmosphere. In order to create a safe and conducive learning atmosphere, teachers are obligated to carry out classroom management. As the opinion of M.Pd.I 2011 on page 221, he stated that classroom management is a concept that must be applied by every teacher in the classroom. In this case, the teacher must be able to create an active classroom atmosphere so that students feel comfortable during the learning process. In addition, teachers must be able to foster a sense of concern for students through the rules that are already available in the classroom. So before the learning activity takes place, the teacher is obligated to make a class rule or order so that it can foster a sense of concern and respect for students. Next is purpose of classroom management. As we know, classroom management has 2 purposes. The first is for students. The purpose of classroom management for students include 3 points. First point is encourage students to be able to carry out their obligations in the classroom. Second point is helping students to understand what rules must be obeyed in the classroom so that students can behave politely in the classroom without having to be reprimanded by the teacher for behaving politely. And the last one is raise a sense of responsibility for students to maintain classroom conditions. And the next purpose is for teacher. Okay, the second purpose is for teacher include 2 points. The first point is develop understanding in giving material in class, and the last point is giving instructions to students, whether it's instructional assignments for learning materials or what things must be done by students in class. Okay, next let's discuss about the activities of classroom management. You can see in here there are two activities of classroom management. First, setting of students. Ari Kunto states that there are two things that affect classroom management, namely bicycle management and student management. In managing this class, the teacher must be able to manage the students. The following are activities that the teacher must do in classroom management, namely: first, a class is a system which is organized of a certain purpose, completed with tasks and leaded and also directed by a teacher. Second, a teacher is a tutor and model for all of students in the classroom. Third, a group work in the classroom has a certain attitude which is sometimes different with the other group or individual. Therefore, all of group works in the classroom need to get attention. Third, the group works in the classroom really influence for the entire individual as the members. A positive influence should be developed, a negative influence should be diminished by a teacher through giving guidance. Okay, next, the teacher ability which more increasing in managing the individual in a group work will much increase the individual satisfactions in the classroom. And the last one is the group work structural, the way of group work communications form, and the unity of group work is determined by a teacher. The teacher ability as a unifier symbol in classroom. Okay, next activities of classroom management is setting of facilities. Check 2003 on page 14 states that the activities of a teacher and students in the classroom are influenced by the environment. The facilities that must be in the classroom include bookshelves, trunks, cans, wall clocks, chairs, table, clocks, and the other. So all these facilities must be available in the classroom in order to create a comfortable and complete classroom atmosphere so that the learning process can run smoothly. Okay, next part is the functions of classroom management. Copper Jim 2011 states that the functions of classroom management include: first, planning in classroom. In this case, the teacher can arrange about what material will be taught to their students, and the teacher can arrange class rules. In addition, the teacher can also prepare any materials needed in the classroom. And the second functions of classroom management is organizing classroom. In this case, the teacher can change the decorations or layout of the classroom, and the teacher can design the classroom so that the class look beautiful and comfortable. Okay, next functions of classroom management is activating in classroom. Teacher must be able to interact with students, and teacher must be able to arouse students' sense of responsibility so that students can participate in learning activities well and smoothly. If students always follow learning activities regularly, the achievements of students will increase. And the last one of functions of classroom management is controlling in classroom. In this case, the teacher has a role to control all activities in the classroom, such as the teacher must be able to control students' behavior, the teacher must be able to coordinate students, and the teacher must be able to bring up the class atmosphere so that the class atmosphere becomes lively and not monotonously.
Okay, next to the new slide, the principles of classroom management. Managing classroom is not easy work. There are many factors cause complexity in classroom management activity. There are some factors can be divided into two factors. First, internal factors include relate to emotional, mind, and behavior problems from students. And the external, these factors relate to the atmosphere of learning environment, student placement, grouping of students, and the number of students in the class, and so on in the around of them. Next slide about the components of classroom management. According to Marzano, there are 5 components of classroom management. First, physical design of classroom. 2. Rules and routines. 3. Relationships. Number 4. Engaging and motivating instruction. And number 5. Disciplines. Next, classroom management approaches. In learning activity, the teacher uses classroom management to organize their class so that the learning activity can be effective and be interesting for students. About using of these approaches can help the teacher in classroom management and create a conducive, inspiring, and interesting classroom for learning. So there are some approaches about classroom management. First, power approach. 2. The threading approach. Number 3, freedom approach. Number 4, the recipe approach. Number 5, the teaching approach. Number 9, behavioral approach. 7, emotional and social relationships approach. And then grouping approach. Okay, the next slide about the last subtopic, factors influencing of classroom management. The classroom management in learning activity is influenced by some factors. The goal of classroom management is to create effective situation and conducive to interacting English in meaningful ways. So the factors of classroom management are as follow. First, teacher characteristic. A good teacher must have the 4 competencies of good criteria to be an English teacher, such as pedagogic competence, professionalism competence, personality competence, and social competence. But each teacher also has different characteristics about how to teach students and the teacher's personality. According to Smith, the teacher should have the following characteristics. First, caring, consistent, enthusiastic, fair, firm, good communicator, honest, humorous, knowledgeable, organized, patient, positive thinking, and reflective. So, second factor is setting up classroom activity. To manage and promote interactive classroom, the teacher can select about the students' assessment in their group or individual, in teams or pairs, in small group consists of 4 to 5 students. The teacher have some choices as how to create the conducive classroom to make their students sit in the class. Okay, then the last, number 3, teacher talk. The communication between students and teacher are important, and this activity must be done by them. Teacher talk is important to be done because important in providing learners with the only substantial life target input they are likely to receive. Okay, the last say before we close the presentation for today. The classroom management has some aspect about how to create a classroom management. Although classroom management is not easy to work, but classroom management is effective for teacher and students to face in class. The students feel interesting, happy, and enjoy because their classroom are conducive. About the online class, the teacher also makes their class very conducive with classroom management. Yeah, okay, that's all about our presentation for today. Thank you so much for your attention. Sorry before we make a mistakes. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.